at the book Diary of a Spider by Doreen Cronin. Themes in this book are overcoming prejudice, judging others, unlikely friendships, empathy, perspective, self-acceptance, and growth. All right, the first question, character development. How do the fly and the spider get along? They get along great. They're like best friends. Okay, moving right along. Question 2, analyze point of view. How does Spider's grandfather see things differently? Okay, so the grandfather fly over here, if you look at this illustration, it talks about how flies and spiders used to basically be total enemies in town, like two different gangs, just rivals. So in the generations, the flies and the spiders had to overcome this prejudice. And that is something that fly and spider are illustrating, that they have overcome the prejudice of their previous generations, and now fly and spider are best friends. They are unlikely friends. You wouldn't expect a fly and a spider to be friends. So they've overcome prejudice, they've overcome judging each other, they are unlikely friends. So these two questions are pretty connected. The fly and the spider get along great. They are best friends, but it's important to realize that they are unlikely friends and that they are only friends because they have overcome prejudice and they have just decided to like not be judgmental. Also like not eat each other, since a spider would normally eat a fly. All right, next question, character development. How do spider and sister react when their playing fails? This is pretty cute. So the spider's like, I went to the playground with my sister and we decided to play seesaw. It didn't work. We failed completely. But they have complete self-acceptance in the fact that like they couldn't play seesaw because they are spiders. They accepted that. They weren't frustrated. They were fine that they couldn't do that. And they just went along. So they accepted where they were. They couldn't play seesaw, they couldn't play on the tires down here, but they could spin a web on the water fountain. So they're accepting what they can and can't do because they are spiders. All right, next question, character development. How does the spider react to the fly being bullied? This is where we see the theme of empathy. So the daddy longlegs makes fun of Spider's best friend, the fly, and Spider is immediately like, I'm gonna go give that daddy longlegs a piece of my mind because he made fun of my best friend and my best friend feels bad, so now I'm going to go tell him that like he can't make fun of my best friend. So a lot of empathy right here. He's gonna go stand up for his friend, the fly. Next question. Character development. What has Spider learned? Okay, so on this page, Spider has learned what scares him. He has learned that daddy longlegs scare him, vacuums scare him, and people with big feet scare him. Those are like things from previously in the book. So that goes with like self-acceptance and growth. Growth can be understanding what you're afraid of is definitely part of your growth, because like what you're afraid of, like those are your limiting factors. So those are places where you can grow because what you're afraid of can limit you. So I see seeing what scares you and growth as being connected. Also self-acceptance, accepting what you're afraid of, accepting your limitations and not fighting them, but being like, yes, I am afraid of these things. And that is okay, you accept it. And again, it's an opportunity for growth. Even when you learn that something feels limiting. So here, growth and self-acceptance and like understanding your fears and your limitations actually all kind of go together, because again, even when you learn that something feels limiting, that is telling you like it is an opportunity for growth. Next question, central idea. What lesson, moral message does the author want the reader to take away? Okay, so overcoming prejudice and judging others. We're just going to go through the theme. So like the very fact that fly and spider are friends, despite the fact that 2 generations ago, spiders and flies were like enemies, like 2 gangs fighting. They now make unlikely friendships. Empathy and perspective. When the fly gets made fun of, spider immediately goes and is like, I'm going to make sure you don't get made fun of. You feel bad. I'm going to go stand up for you and tell the daddy long legs that he should not be making fun of my friend. Even though that doesn't really work out, that's still okay. Lastly, the ideas of self-acceptance and growth. So the spider learns what he can and cannot do, and the spider learns what he is afraid of. But through learning what he is afraid of, number 1, he accepts it. And number 2, learning what you are afraid of and accepting that is actually an opportunity for growth, because when you realize what your self-limitations are, like those are the exact areas where you can grow. So that is Diary of a Spider by Doreen Cronin, exploring themes of overcoming prejudice, judging others, unlikely friendships, empathy, perspective, self-acceptance, and growth.